guys' familiarity level was with Aion? Have you seen much of it?
Kennst du Aion schon?
I've seen the trailer, but
Okay, so
I've played no time.
okay, no problem. Okay, well I'll kind of give you kind of the basics then as well. So Aion takes place in the world of Atrea. And Atrea is a world that's been shattered into two halves. And these two halves have two different inhabitants, the Elios and the Asmodeans. And this is going to be the first choice that the player makes when they log into the game is which side they're going to play. And what originally happened was they were at war with a race called the Bular, which is a third draconic faction that's going to be NPC run on our game. And there was a great war and it shattered the world into two. And what happened was these two sides got separated, the Elios and Asmodean, and they did not know the other side still existed. And because of that, when they went on with their lives, you know, the Asmodeans changed and like their world was kind of a much harsher climate, so they've kind of adapted. They've got claws and manes and red eyes, and you know, really kind of a different look than the Elios, which are kind of all, you know, sunshine and bubblegum. So you'll notice that you know, the Elios are pretty much humanoid. So because they've had the sunlight that's actually been able to hit through on their side of the world, whereas the Asmodeans only get reflected light, so their environment's just that much harsher. And so what's happened in the game setting is they've actually rediscovered each other in this voided area called the Abyss. They both found these portals and they stumbled upon each other and they immediately thought, your fault. And so you're the reason this world has been destroyed. And so they blame each other for it. And they both believe that, you know, the way to set things right again is to destroy the other side. And so they're now locked in this war in the Abyss. And while they're in the Abyss, they also rediscovered the ancient draconic race too, called the Bular. And this creates kind of our gameplay system called PvPvE, which is the culmination of PvP and PvE, the best of everything all at once. So when a player starts, they'll choose their side. I've chosen the Elios, and they'll get to choose between these 4 base classes. And then at level 10, they'll go through the Ascension process, and the Ascension process will let them choose between 2 more classes. So the Warrior will turn into the Gladiator and the Templar, the Scout will turn into the Ranger and Assassin, the Mage will turn into the Sorcerer and Spirit Master, and the Priest into the Chanter and the Cleric. So there'll be 8 total classes in Aion. Levels 1 through 10 go pretty quick. I think for an average MMO person, probably like 4 hours. Really hardcore folk do it in under 2. So the other major part of the Ascension quest is that players earn the ability to fly. And so with flight, it's actually a timer. So you have a base time, which can be added with gear, potions, and buffs, and also a flight speed, which can be gear, potions, and buffs. And so it kind of turns into another manageable hit bar. And so you'll actually notice that, like, for instance, if you're flying and another player attacks you, it might be better for them to reduce your flight time than to actually reduce your health, because then you'll fall to your death. So I'm going to go through some of the major changes that have happened since our beta. I'll still kind of keep some of the basics in there as well, but we've actually added a lot more faces. As you can see right here, we've got 33 choices to choose from, all made with our character crew. So you can basically take this base model, change the eye color, maybe change the hair color some, change the skin color, keep your haircut a little bit different. And then you can go over here as well, change a whole bunch of different areas. So you can pretty much make whoever you want or whatever you want. It's really endless combinations here. And it was funny, the lead artist that made all of these faces, with his team, as soon as the game was launched in Korea and all the player faces came out, he was like, come on guys, because the players made so many faces, and he was like, they're all better than the ones we made. So, and then we also have body types that you can change, the default, athletic, and all of these are adjustable as well, so you can kind of be whatever you want to be. So, it makes for some fun and interesting. You can be as goofy or as beautiful as you like in this world. You know, that's kind of what Aion comes back to, is about choice. So the character name, just kind of spinning something in there. We made sure that the character names are consistent in terms of a capital letter followed by lowercase letters. Seeing somebody run around with add exclamation mark kind of takes you out of the world, and isn't very engrossing. So, since not everybody gets to sit through all my wonderful presentations, a lot of the players kind of felt lost in the world, and so they didn't know who they were or what they were. And so this video has been added to kind of help address some of that in terms of, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to be, and this is my role in the world of Aion. So it's very important with the new IP that our players know and understand what's happened, and that they're not just thrown into this unique world and lost and everything. So for casual users and kind of newbie players, we're going to have some good tutorials. These tutorials are actually going to be full motion video, and so it'll visually tell somebody exactly how to play. There's not going to be this walls of text that you have to read that you probably won't. So this is pretty important for a player. So you'll notice that with us, our control scheme is actually different than the Korean game. So the Korean game, you'll log in, you'll be able to point to click to move, whereas with Aion, you'll log in and the left mouse button will rotate the camera, and then you'll use WASD to jump. It was one of our most requested features that we actually changed these default settings around. You can go back to click to move in the options menu if you wish, but it's all about providing this comfortable environment for the player so that they don't feel. You're already in this strange foreign world, right? Like you don't need to feel like you can't control yourself or your character that well. So I click on this guy. So he's got a pretty basic quest for me, kind of starting the world. He's going to have a dictionary entry for this guy that's got to kind of highlight the main areas, and you'll be able to actually click locate, and it'll tell you where it is on the map and put it down here as well, so you can kind of run to him a little bit easier and not spend all this time looking for it. So our quests have been rewritten multiple times. We have a team of 14 writers, many of which are published fantasy authors, previous game workers. We have some people from Guild Wars that are working on our team. And they've basically taken the attitude of taking the translated Korean text, making sure that they keep the main story and the main plot, but all the kind of funny humor that's inserted in, or the cultural references in Aion, are translated into a more Western style. And it's important that although you translate something correctly, like a Korean joke translated may not be funny to us. It may be the correct translation, but it doesn't make sense. It has no reference or boundary. So it was important for us to go back here and put that kind of humor back in. So, see this guy sleeping on the job. Like the quest title for that could have been like, "You were sleeping instead of working." Whereas in English, it makes much more sense to say "sleeping on the job." And so we have to make sure that all those type of references take place. So I'm going to log in a higher level character. So as I mentioned, we're kind of showing off our launch version here at 1.5. There's going to be lots of bug fixes and changes before actual launch, but the content for the most part is complete here. And for content in 1.5, it's actually going to include 2 other updates as well. So when Korea launched in November, it launched with version 1.0. And then we've since launched 1.1, 1.2, and just 1.5 the other week. And so we're going to be very close up to date with the Korean version. And it's going to be kind of, 1.5 is important to us because it's like the culmination of all of the Western feedback, and it's kind of catered more towards the Western audience. And so what I kind of mean by that is when we first launched the game in Korea, we spent the months prior making sure that the game was ready for that market. And so what we did then is we took that and built upon that to make sure that the game was ready for the Western market. The Korean market, a lot more focus on PvP, much more focus on PvE than Western market. So although Europe does tend to actually skew much more PvP than PvE, but we had that there. So it's important that we had all these additional balances, changes, bug fixes, features, instances. I think we have over 20 instances now with our launch version, and a lot of these instances take place in the Abyss. I'll show you the map here. So the Abyss is this middle area of the world where there's kind of the war ground, the PvP. And the other halves live up here on the inside of the world. And so in the Abyss, you're actually able to capture these fortresses. And when you capture these fortresses, you adjust kind of the economy of the world with tax rates, but also have access to items, as well as specific instance dungeons to those fortresses. So there's another instance dungeon here in the Abyss that I'm going to show you, and then I set it up with a cutscene. And the cutscenes, they're intertwined throughout all our quests, but they're mainly focused on our campaign quests. And the campaign quests are the main storyline of the game. So every time you enter a zone, it's going to have its own story arc. And so it's going to have 15 to 20 quests that tell a story from start to finish. And so these cutscenes will help drive this story along.
I don't have to tell you. The destructive power of the Dredgian is enormous.